What is the most horrible thing you caught a classmate doing in school? My name is Ryan from Askreddit Tells, and today we're going to be looking at that. But before we do, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to help keep the channel going. Dude in my US Navy boot camp, you had to take the Navy history classes, found out that in a letter his girlfriend had left him. Took off running right as we were going into class, leapt onto a third floor rail ledge thing. It was San Diego and classes all had outside entrances, no inside hallways. And then proceeded to do a swan dive onto the concrete 30 feet below with his hands held behind his back. Dead instantly. Saw him dive but only heard him land. We were immediately pushed inside by company commanders, then locked down. When we got to head back to the barracks a little while later, they were using a fire hose to try and wash all the blood away. Very disturbing to an 18-year-old me. Well, maybe not caught, in the sense that they didn't want to be seen, but during high school PE, after my gym teacher refused to let anyone use the bathroom because the period just started and 15 minutes hasn't passed yet, me and the whole class watched a kid stand up, drop his pants, and piss with his penis spinning in a helicopter-like motion all over the gym. Needless to say, class was canceled and he was suspended. I didn't get my sides back for that whole week. When I was in high school, I liked to go to the balcony of our theater to take naps during my free periods, because it was usually empty. One day I walk up the stairs and see a girl from the grade below that I sort of knew cutting herself with scissors. She freaked out and ran away. I eventually caught up with her and we had an intense conversation. We became friends after that day and I encouraged her to start seeing a therapist, which helped her a lot. Edit. Since so many of you have been asking, no, we never dated or hooked up. Edit 2. Free periods are segments in a schedule that are the same length as a class, where you do not have to have a class, so are free to do what you want. Some schools have them, some call it study hall and restrict you to an area, and some do not even give them that at all. I actually loved my schedule in high school because for 3 years I had first period free, so I started class later, and another one too, which was my nap period. In 4th grade, we had a few foreign students. Being it was New York, it wasn't a big deal to see someone come late into the school year because they were from another country. This kid, let's call him Ahmed, just came to NY, had no English at all, but was a beast in math. During one math class, he was already finished with one section of the Sims book, while other kids were palm sweaty from a few questions in. He sat up there for some time and was really bored. Then he gets up, goes to the waste bin, and proceeds to take off his pants and shit right in the waste bin. The teacher was so shocked she didn't even make a sound. He gets up, puts his pants back on, and sits at the desk as if nothing happened. The whole class is either disgusted or laughing hysterically. I, of course, fell out of my chair from laughter. The teacher started yelling at him, but he didn't speak any English, so she took him to the principal's office. Later, when I went to give the attendance for class, I noticed he was there with his parents present already, and the mother tells the principal that Ahmed said if there was some sand around that he would have covered up the smell by putting sand on it. I burst out laughing again. Ahmed seen me and smiled devilishly. The principal explains that there are facilities of which an act can be done without interrupting her classmates or alerting his teacher. His mom just says, "Look, my kid had to go. Why would you spend your time walking around and searching for a place to go? Trash right near him." Ahmed was a chill kid and says in English the only word he learned in class that day, sorry. A few years later, when he learned most of the English language, I asked him about the event, and he told me, "Oh, I was bored, so I wanted to make a statement to America that my shit's here to stay." What he meant was my ass is here to stay. Not mine, but my sister's. She was sitting in class near this boy who was a little off. They were in 6th grade, and to help combat the odor of hormones, the teacher had asked all students to keep a little personal stick of deodorant in their desks for after gym and recess. One day they're sitting in class and my sister looks over and this kid is eating the deodorant from the stick and smearing it on his face. The teacher notices and asks what he's doing. He looks up, while surrounding his lips, his face glistening with Axe, and he explains, I'm trying to make friends. Edit. Unless Shoenice is a mid-20s male who went to school in the middle of Wisconsin, stop asking if it's him. In high school history class, the teacher was a great prankster, but a bit of a nutcase, and let us basically do whatever we wanted. One day, a friend of mine took the teacher's coffee cup to the bathroom, came back with a pee/coffee mixture, and handed it to the teacher. My buddy even told him, I peed in that. And the teacher looks him dead in the eye and enthusiastically says, good, and drinks it. He probably knew once he tasted it, but he'd never let us know. Just continued to sip it and look at my buddy and wink. Dominance was established. Too long didn't read? Buddy pisses in teacher's coffee and tells him, no fucks were given by teacher, and he drinks it anyway. In high school, girl riding the stick shift in her car and gets stuck, unable to remove herself from it. Had to be helped off by teachers. Also in high school, male senior has fling with new female math teacher. She is fired, but they show up to prom together. Also in high school, male student is suspended for gangster haircut. His mom shows up and shoots the principal 4 times, but he lived. Edit. The mom shot 4 times, but only hit him once. The old news articles I referenced in thread give more details. So many which school responses. It was in Naaman Forest in Garland, TX. The shooting was in 1990. It's actually pre-WWW, but I did find a blurb from the Dallas Morning News about the shooting. And I think a gangster haircut is whatever the principal decides is a gangster haircut. Edit 3. Thanks for the gold. In 7th grade, a classmate of mine had cheated on our best friend's math test, which was worth 1/3 of our grade in that class. The worst part is he actually tried to blame it on my friend, who was about to get in serious trouble because the teacher thought it was him. After him telling me this, I did something pretty ballsy. After class, I went up to my math teacher and told him who really did it, but he still claimed that he knew exactly who it was. At this point, I was so frustrated I quickly blurted out, why don't you make both students retake it and whoever gets the better score is the one who didn't cheat? He agreed and said that both of them would take it after school, so I decided I would wait for him so we could walk home together. He simply walked out an hour and a half later and gave me a hug, saying, I don't know what I would do without you, dude. Too long didn't read? Saved my best friend from getting expelled. It's true. I was the teacher, and the math test. Don't believe me? It was on the internet, and everything on the internet's true. We had a spoiled dicklord in my grade 9 class. We went on a field trip to a marine biology center. We were messing around and he grabbed a starfish out of a live tank, held it to his shirt, turned to the girl he liked and said, Hey, I'm a sheriff. What he didn't know is that when starfish feel they are going to die, they release all of their jizz in an attempt to impregnate another random starfish. He proceeded to get a load all over his shirt and yelled, He peed on me. Our teacher had a wonderful time telling him it was not urine, but starfish cum. We forever called him Spermy, and when he cried to a teacher about the name, she told him to get used to it, as it was going to stick. I love that teacher. Forgive any spelling, this is from my phone. Once in school, I believe we were around 12 to 13, to avoid the nasty confusion of forms and years and grades, we were watching a documentary on the Holocaust. A girl was in the back of the room and screamed in disgust. The film was pretty graphic, so we were all expected that to be the source, and I remember initially being annoyed at her reaction. Then a guy sitting perpendicular to her, we were around circular tables, also screams out of pain, gets up, then runs to the room with his cock through the zipper of his trousers. He had been facing the screen whilst everyone else at his circular table effectively had to turn away. He evidently thought a Holocaust film was the perfect time to masturbate. He got caught, and in a panic tried to zip his trousers back up and got caught. I don't know if it's horrible, but in middle school there was this couple that sat across from my table in the lunchroom. Every day she would give him a hand job under the table, which was very obvious from where my friends and I sat. I always wondered if the people they sat with knew. I mean, they had to, right? I guess he never finished because I don't know how you'd be able to look your friends in the eye while you're violently jizzing on the underside of a lunch table, or worse, onto the open-toed sandal of the girl across from him. Edit. I missed some punctuation. I'm not a writer, okay? Edit 2. TIL, everybody was getting handies under the lunch table, except for me. In 8th grade, one of my female classmates was in the locker room blowing a classmate. Third classmate took a video of it and sent it around. She was proud of it. Edit, my most upvoted comment. Thanks, guys. Edit 2. No child porn charges ever came about. I believe they got suspended for the rest of the year, though. Great. Story time. Weirdest. When I was in elementary school, one of my friends used to take out his shaft and stick it into the rubber cement jar that we all used for our arts and crafts project. The teacher eventually caught on because she thought someone was constantly shoving their fingers in it. Grossest. When I was in high school, one of the quieter girls in my class would always take her small purse with her to the bathroom. Pretty suspicious. I should say right now that the bathroom is on its way to my class. So one day I'm running late to class, and for some odd reason I'm passing the girl's bathroom when I turn to my attention to the purse girl who was next to the bathroom sink. I was curious and decided to see what she would do with her bag. Nothing. Instead, she reaches into her pants and pulls out a brownish red maxi pad. She then proceeds to pick off clucks of whatever the fuck it was and places it onto a small Tupperware. I never told anyone. Bravest. I once witnessed a kid answer a math problem before raising his hand. Nothing special here, just a dude who sat next to me every damn day watching a mixture of standard cartoons and rape porn. Was it a Christian school? I didn't breathe a word to the instructor. I hated that place. I only decided to turn him on at the point where he was making direct eye contact with people, grunting and fapping away. Everyone knew but the instructor. We had no filters on our laptop. One time in my high school choir class, the kid next to me taps me on the shoulder and says, "Check out my new wallet." I look over and he has his pants down and standing there is a fully erect penis. Not to mention a massive bush. The hair went almost all the way up the shaft too, which is pretty horrifying. His best friend is sitting next to him and he notices as well. Starts laughing and says, "What the fuck, bro?" And then proceeds to grab his sheet music and swipes it towards the dick, giving it a paper cut. The kid with his dick out, normally a pretty calm, funny guy, becomes furious, stands up with his penis still out, and punches the kid square in the face. At this point, everyone has noticed the commotion, and they see a kid standing up with a hairy erection that has just punched his friend. My words can't even describe the amount of confusion in that room. They eventually were both suspended for like 5 days or something. All the choir kids laugh about it now. Neither of them were allowed back into choir though. Up to this date, that is the strangest event I have ever witnessed. 7th grade. Guy gets break detention, meaning he has to stay in the classroom during breaks. Masturbates and leaves jizz on the blackboard. It was not remarked on, but he was grinning like crazy. Same kid a few weeks later, doing a line of cocaine on his front row desk, the one next to mine. Another kid, same detention, only hallway now since classrooms obviously didn't work, fills a garbage bag with water and holds it out the window. As I walk in, he drops it, 4 stories down. A very pregnant woman gets her stomach wet and a fast trip to the hospital. Deliver. Criminal charges. Edit. Checked my files, it was 8th grade, sorry. Still, though. When I was in the 4th grade, we would take a field trip to the local swimming pool for swimming lessons, every 2 weeks on Thursday for 2 hours. We were always freaking psyched. Water slides and a lazy river ride filled with jets? Hell yes. Though 9-year-old me, my friend John and I were racing up the stairs of the water slide when I looked down at the lazy river and saw what I thought was a pair of brown swimming trunks with an air bubble floating around. It then floated into the bubble rapids where the water jets turned what turned out to be a turd into a brown shit plume that slowly filled the lazy river. The hot tub in the center of the river was filled with some girls from class. I shouted down to them to get out before the shit got to them. Everyone began screaming, rushing out of the pool water. It's all connected. It was chaos. Think Jaws after they realized there was a shark in the water. Later on, it was confirmed by my friend Heather that it was the weird kid Jonathan, who later got the name Jonathan the Pool Shitter. People were equally disgusted and angry at him since our school was no longer allowed at that pool. He became a social pariah from then on, and the name stuck. Eventually, he learned to accept the nickname Pool Shitter, and is now no longer fazed by it. Sometimes I look back and admire him for what he had overcome. Bullies, therapy, Godspeed, Pool Shitter, Godspeed. Looks like that's all the time we have for today. If you liked this video, make sure to check out some of our other stuff and even subscribe. As always, my name's Ryan from Askreddit Tells, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.